and get showered up and hopefully crash pretty soon. Hopefully this one loads pretty quickly. You know, I don't know. I'm not a scientist and an ass, complete manipulative, narcissistic asshole. So I don't know how this is going to work. Hopefully it'll load in about, 10, 15 minutes or so, like it usually does. So yeah. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a narcissistic asshole, so I can't tell you for sure. I things I know for sure. Let's see. I like green chili salsa for breakfast with cantaloupe and strawberries and orange juice. You guys too? I know that for sure. Not always, but a lot of times, especially during salsa season, which is fall. What else? Oh, I got to make chorizo burritos tomorrow, and I like those too. So I do know that for sure. I like big brown eyes. Yeah. I like I like people that are empathetic and kind. Things I know for sure. Hmm. What else is the sky blue? I don't know that for sure. I'm not a narcissistic asshole scientist. I can't tell you that. Okay. But yeah, I do know for sure that So Earl, you're funny, but Earl, there's a lot of things. What do you know for sure? I know for sure. No, you don't. You think you know it. It's a perception of it. Oh, shut up. I know for sure. I don't like listening to narcissistic assholes talk. I know that, right? So like, what's well, because they had this thing after there was you get the fuck out of here, and they had Neil deGrasse Tyson with this Ben Shapiro kid, right? And I had that frustration. It's not any different than it was back when they first introduced me to social media with Richard Dawkins and Francesca and what was that Chris Hitchens, right? And I was like, well, you're taking on these people. Take on me, take on me, take me on, take on me. I'll be God. So I'm like, gone, not God. Okay, I'll talk to you about it. I'll explain it. I will explain intelligence of religion of you. I'm a little bit more Blaise Pascal than the people that and it's. I don't want to take you on. I just want to help. Well, this is what the corporations say and all the people that are wackadoodles that believe in mythology and kill over anything. But here's what a person that's really religious thinks. Okay. Well, D.T. Suzuki and Judah Krishnamurti aren't here. But Haile Selassie's no longer living among us. So talk to me. Sunny Osuna and the Sunlighters, talk to me. I don't love the things you say. No, you're assholes. Money's not real. Okay, but it looks they won't talk. No, and that's first. You're like sitting there going, okay, this guy's just an asshole. He's just like Richard Dawkins, Chris Hitchens, and Francesca. There's no real evidence to show that Moses even really exists, except for a book called the Torah and a bunch of people that believe in it. But that doesn't mean, so he's a comic book character. Moses, you're a comic book character. So is Charlton Heston. Okay, so you're like, nah. Yeah, no, it's there. There is certain kind of you do understand when Hitler, Hitler turned Strauss into a German, right? You know what I'm saying? It's now the Gulf of America. But do you understand? Gulf of Mexico. It's been called that forever. It was for forever, not forever, for a long time. I like it that way, the Gulf of Mexico, so it's pretty, we have nothing against Mexico. Tejas used to be called Tejas because it was full of people that speak Spanish because they were occupied by the Spanish. And I've got nothing against Spanish. Okay, I am very much, there's a lot of, because my grandmother, is she migrated, so it's been my family, years and years in the Iberian Peninsula, through my mom's thing. So definitely not, and there's a lot of things in me and Patrick, psychological and biological conditions that are very Spanish. And so, um, what how do you explain love? My affection for the Nahuatl people and the Chiricahua and the Dene and the love, 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 love. Why'd you take so long to come to me? As me and Miriam, I mean, we clashed and then we just, affectionately just adored one another. And she's our walk. And I don't know if there was much migration patterns for it, but she just loved me and I loved her. Mom knew, and everybody knew, Judy, you love her. Shut up, Judy. You're engaged to law. It's not my fault. Law's been out running around. Mary, okay. When your fiance's cheating on you and you're pretty much certain of it, but you have only circumstantial evidence, and this other woman's like, be with me, I won't cheat on you. You love her kids, and it's hard not to. You fall in love. Yeah, it happens. There's nothing wrong. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Military service, you have to pay extortion to live here. Go kill the poor people over there for our rich people so we can maintain status quo. That's a bad thing. Okay. But, and having to go somewhere to do the extortion gigging and the craziness and train to be hey, you're a moron with a gun, go kill for money and all that crazy shit. Hey, put up spy plane. Hey, let's espionage and kill for money. That's bad. Okay. But finding out that, someone just doesn't have the same kind of principles and morals and values as you, but you hope she could have, but she just doesn't. And this other woman is more like you. And she adores you and you adore her and you adore her kiddos because, she tried with someone else and it didn't work. And, yeah. No, I think Patrick can understand. All right. Because I don't expect him to love me more than Mira. I didn't expect him to love me more than Emily. Right. So, you do what I say. I'm your father. You can love me more than your spouse. So you can understand when you love people and that, you can't be selfish about them and you have to understand that they're not just loved by you, right? When it comes to a spouse, you make commitments and you make promises and it's a faithful commitment. It's a holy covenant, right? And sexual reproduction together so your kids can, understand how to continue that kind of beauty. So it's a little bit different, but as far as kids, that whole, oh, what a lonely boy, when they said he was the only son, he thought he was the only one. It's like, well, it's sisters. That's, well, no. Having siblings, it's wonderful. No, really, it is. Your sister. The one I got along with the best for the most amount of time and stuff like that was my oldest sister. She had a different biological father. Okay. Was Linda. Okay. And she could be a shit. One time she dressed me up in a dress and Dad found out I got mad. She's like, oh, he's got nicer legs than all of us, and put me in pantyhose and stuff like that. Yeah. Because she was just Linda. She was mischievous, right? One time she got some paperwork out of the thing and I didn't know how to completely read it all and told me I was adopted and had me crying and all kinds of shit like that. She used to do. Yeah, Linda could be a brat, okay? But she could be real fun. And, and kind and, protecting and stuff too. Because, she just had this mischievous thing about her. It was like, No, I was never that way. I was always the protecting person. I can be funny, but it's more of a, when it hurts somebody, like I used to with Perry. He's very proud of his Greek heritage. And Garungus sounds like a dick disease. Guys, you need to quit that. And so I knew what I could joke about, and knew certain things were sensitive topics, and I didn't touch the sensitive topics, but the ones that they had a little bit better self-esteem about, then I would joke with. And that's what you have to do is you get to know people and know where they're okay with being funny and where, no, it hurts. Like with Bob. And he used to get mad at me, because the rest of the guys, because when he got the cat, he hated cats, stuff. And then we came over and he was over there and we saw him around the corner. He's playing with the cat in the front yard. And then he had this sock and this thing in it and stuff. And as soon as he saw us, he hit the cat with it. And they were all like this, and he hates kids and all this stuff. It's like, and finally one of the guys, I told him, he doesn't hate kids. It's like, what? No, he likes kids. He likes cats and all that. He's just being tough. His dad had a disease that skips every other generation that can cause people. No, he doesn't want to have kids because he's afraid he'll have a kid that will have the same disease his dad has. And Bob was like, shut up, Earl. It's like, no, it's true. Okay, so he's just being tough. All right. So just understand. Just be understanding and kind. And I had said that a couple of times with him. And he'd just look at me and just like, damn. So you see right through people. Sometimes it's like, it's not that hard. Okay? It's pretty easy. You're not a jerk and you're not a creep and you're not a cold cretin. You're just, it hurts. Like with that one teacher, Mr. Parsons was like, you need to not go there when he was sitting there talking about, what does your dad do? It was nothing. He doesn't do anything. Robert, your dad is a bum? I was like, just let it go, man. Please just, go to the next student. No, I'm teaching the class, Mr. Parsons. It was just like, I would let it go. That's what I kept saying because I'm that type of person. You know me. And then so finally he sits there. He goes, okay, he's a pusher. Your dad is a drug dealer? No, he pushes up daisies. I told you didn't want to go there, lady. I kept telling her, go to the next person, leave it alone. So I'm teaching the class here, Mr. Parsons, right? And he didn't want to participate. Well, he had a valid reason, And that's when we became friends, Because I started laughing when he said that. He pushes up daisies and I started cracking up. I was like, God dang, that was funny. She had to go there, and he appreciated the fact that I laughed. Because it was a joke. Right? No one else laughed. Everybody else was sitting there going, that's because no one else was, they were all just sitting there, like most of you all do. Okay. Vote for me for president. I want to kill all the people that are my business competition. Okay. I just want money. And I want good investments. And top tech. And I want to be able to get invested in it so I can make lots of money off of the people you want to kill and help kill them also. Okay. No one else sees anything wrong with this? Okay, what does your dad do? Nothing. He just lays around a lot. Oh, he's dead. Why? Well, he pushes up Daisy. Why? Because we stole John Wick's car and killed his dog. Stupid. Yes, it is stupid. I understand. But you got to understand the type of people you're dealing with. And they haven't changed since Francesca, Richard Dawkins, and Chris Hitchings. You think they might get better. They're not getting better. Okay, I have to fix this shit just about all by myself. I'm not all by myself. My meditations, because they know who I am and they're helping me through. Because they can read the books and go, okay, this kid is, and especially in the East. That's why Jesus said it's real important to the people in the East. It's harder for the people in the West because we were being spied on, studied, and manipulated and abused. But in the East, it was different. It's when they found out in Japan what Suzuki was doing, they killed a lot of people that were helping him. It's horrible. When he told me about it, at first it was neat. I'm like sitting there going, I have all these wonderful people talking to me, helping me, explain to me that they understand that children are wonderful and they're just fun and kind and intelligent. It's brilliant, And then they were gone. And I understood why some of the other men were upset and mad and not wanting to do it. One of the guys were real excited. It's like, but they're all going to get murdered. His life's eternal and grace is infinite. When we're living the Lord's Prayer, this will all be worth it. You don't cry over this clay. Our children aren't afraid to die standing up to do what was right instead of accept lie and pass it on to people and call it love. And I was like, wow, that's deep. Yeah, it is. Okay. You see why Neil deGrasse Tyson and Richard Dawkins and all those award winners don't want to have a public conversation with me? Yeah, they can't handle the truth. Well, I hope they do something before they're pushing up daisies. Okay, guys, I love you. All right, peace out, man.